They say silence is peaceful. But when I walked into my own home that rainy Thursday evening and heard nothing, not the hum of the TV, not the clatter of pans in the kitchen, not even my daughter's usual off-key singing, it felt like the world had stopped breathing. I knew something was wrong the moment I stepped into our bedroom and saw her standing there. Eva. She was folding clothes into a suitcase with a calmness that didn't belong in that moment. The rain soaked through my coat, dripping onto the hardwood floor, but I didn't move, couldn't. My wife of 21 years was packing to leave me, and she wasn't even crying. "I think you know what this is," she said flatly, still folding a sweater with precise, robotic movements. I stood there, heart thudding. "No, I don't." She zipped the suitcase with emotion so decisive it sounded like a sentence being passed. "I'm leaving, Darren. I'm moving in with Owen. My cousin." That name, that betrayal cracked something inside me. She looked up, and the face that once lit up my world was a stranger's mask. "It's been going on for a while. We didn't mean to fall for each other. But it happened, and I'm done pretending." My breath fogged the air. "You're leaving our daughter. You're leaving me for my cousin." Her lips tightened. "You make it sound so simple, but I haven't been your wife in years. You're obsessed with your students, your lectures, your perfect little classroom. You haven't really seen me in forever." I wanted to scream, to beg, to demand how she could be so cruel. But all I managed was, "Lena. What about Lena? She's 16. She's old enough to understand." Eva glanced at the door like she couldn't wait to get out. "And she does. More than you think." That was the moment, the shatter point. She left with Owen 30 minutes later, stepping into his luxury SUV like it was some fairy tale chariot. Her umbrella snapped open, red and bright like blood against the gray downpour. They didn't look back. And then there was silence again. Upstairs, I found Lena sitting cross-legged on her bed, headphones on, tears streaking her face. "I heard everything," she said. "I tried to warn you. I saw them last month in his car, kissing." My world dissolved into pieces right then. My marriage, my trust, my family. But even through the pain, I wrapped my arms around my daughter and held her tight. "I won't let them take you," I whispered. "I don't care what they say. You're mine, and I'll fight." The storm outside cracked the sky open like a wound. But inside, in that broken house, a promise was forged. One that would change everything. They say betrayal doesn't happen in a moment. That it grows in the shadows first like mold under wallpaper. Quiet, creeping, poisonous. Looking back, I should have seen it. The signs were everywhere. The late-night department meetings. The new perfume she wore to school. The laughter that stopped when I entered a room. And then there was Owen, my cousin. He moved in just after his divorce had gotten ugly. As Eva put it, she insisted we help. Said he needed a place to land. Family, after all, was supposed to look out for each other. "You know how bad it's gotten with his ex," she had said one afternoon, sliding a casserole into the oven like this was normal. "It's just for a few weeks." Weeks turned into months. At first, I didn't mind. Owen had always been the charming one. Flashy suits, expensive cologne, luxury cars, too white smile. He was everything I wasn't. Where I spent my days in room 212 of Jefferson High, chalk in hand and test papers stacked like bricks around me. Owen spent his in high-rises and beachfront condos, closing real estate deals and posing for social media in sunglasses that cost more than my entire wardrobe. He brought wine to dinner, the good kind. He made jokes that made Eva laugh too loud. And at first, I told myself it was harmless. Then came the subtleties. Eva started dressing differently. Skirts she hadn't worn in years, lipstick in shades I didn't recognize. She said she just wanted to feel good again. "I'm 43, not dead," she joked, flipping her hair. But she never wore those clothes for me. Lena noticed first. One night after dinner, she sat across from me at the kitchen table while I graded quizzes. "Dad?" she said softly. "Do you trust Mom?" I looked up. "Of course I do." "Why?" She hesitated, picked at the edge of her sweater. "She's always whispering with Uncle Owen. Yesterday, I heard them in the garage." She was laughing, and He called her babe. I froze. You must have misheard. Her eyes, so much like her mother's, only clearer, were steady. I didn't. I didn't want to believe it. So I didn't. That's how deep the denial ran. But reality doesn't care about your denial. It just keeps marching forward. One evening, I came home late from helping a student with a science fair project and found Eva and Owen on the patio. Candles. Wine. Laughter. She didn't even flinch when I opened the sliding door. You're home early, she said casually, as if this were normal. Owen raised his glass. Darren, you're just in time. I was telling Eva about this insane listing I got down in Avalon. Ocean views. You wouldn't believe the commissions. I forced a smile. Sounds great. Later that night, I stood in the hallway outside our bedroom listening to the shower running. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. And what I saw killed whatever hope I had left. Eva. I hate lying to him, but I love you. Owen. He's too dense to ever figure it out. Just a few more weeks. Once the beach house is ready, we're gone. There were dozens more. Photos. Messages. Plans. They weren't hiding it. Not really. They were just counting on my blindness. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the kitchen, staring at nothing while the fridge hummed and the clock ticked on like a funeral drum. That weekend, I confronted her. She didn't deny it. Didn't cry. Didn't beg. She just said, you'll be fine. You've got your job, your students. That's all you ever needed anyway. And just like that, she packed her things and left. What I didn't expect, what I could never have predicted, was how fast my entire family turned on me. It started with my sister, Brielle. I know it's hard, she said when I called her, voice syrupy sweet with pity. But Eva and Owen, it's real, Darren. They didn't plan this. It just happened. My mother wasn't any better. You've always been difficult, she said with a sigh, as if discussing a garden hose that kept leaking. Eva deserves happiness. Maybe if you'd been more available. Available? I asked, stunned. I've been holding this family together for 2 decades. She tooted. You chose to be a high school teacher, Darren. Not exactly the most ambitious path, was it? One by one, the doors closed. Texts from cousins stopped. Calls went unanswered. Facebook feeds filled with family photos, smiling faces at Owen's new beach house, Eva in sundresses, holding champagne, toasting new beginnings. Meanwhile, Lena and I sat in a quiet house where the photos had been taken down and the laughter had dried up. And it wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Because soon after Eva moved in with Owen, I received a letter. Custody papers. They were trying to take my daughter away. In the documents, Eva claimed I was emotionally unfit, too absorbed in work to provide a nurturing environment. Owen had signed as co-petitioner. They wanted full custody. I stared at the papers for hours, my mind a blur of disbelief and rage. Then I picked up the phone and called someone I hadn't spoken to in years. Barry? I asked when the voice on the other end answered groggily. Darren? His voice sharpened. Jesus, man. It's been forever. I need help, I said. What kind? The kind that finds things. Uncovers dirt. Buries people with it. A pause. You always were the nice one, Barry said. What happened? My cousin stole my wife. And now they're trying to steal my daughter. Another pause. Then, I'm in. As I hung up, Lena walked into the room, clutching a photo of the 3 of us from 2 years ago, back when I still believed in everything that picture stood for. Don't let them take me, Dad, she said, voice trembling. I knelt down and looked her in the eyes. They won't. I swear. And just like that, the teacher in me stepped aside. The father stepped forward. And the war began. They came at me with polished shoes and a golden lie. They came into courtrooms wearing smiles stretched tight over guilt, holding hands like some fairy tale couple risen from ashes. They thought they would bury me quietly. They forgot that some of us know how to dig. Barry didn't look like much at first glance. Wrinkled trench coat, dark circles under his eyes, hair that hadn't seen a comb in days. But when he opened that manila folder on my kitchen table, I saw something glitter in his gaze. Avalon, Cape May, Stone Harbor, he said, laying out printouts of luxury listings. Your cousin's been busy. Owen had built an empire on sand, sleek condos with rotting foundations, beach homes staged with rented furniture to hide the cracks beneath. Every single one inspected by the same crooked contractor, a guy named Mickey DeLuca. Barry's team had uncovered falsified reports, doctored invoices, and sale after sale where the truth had been painted over literally. And Eva? She's listed as the transaction coordinator on at least 9 of these deals, Barry said, tapping her name on digital documents. She used her school email to schedule buyer meetings. During class hours, I stared at the screen, my jaw clenched so tight it hurt. She's still teaching teenagers while lying to families and hiding black mold. Barry nodded. We have her on at least 2 fake backdated inspections. That's enough to open a fraud case. But this wasn't just about revenge. It was about Lena. She was the only real thing left in my life. My lighthouse in the storm. And they wanted to take her away from me to stuff her into some magazine-ready fantasy where I was the villain. I wouldn't let them. The custody hearing was set for October 3rd. I circled the date in red ink on the classroom calendar in room 212 next to notes about the AP exam schedule and the science fair sign-up. My 2 worlds colliding in a brutal crescendo. In the days leading up to it, the school turned cold. Teachers I'd worked beside for over a decade averted their eyes. Parents whispered in the halls. Students stared like I was a cautionary tale. But one day, as I locked up after class, someone knocked on my door. Deborah Lang, the school's guidance counselor. She was always upbeat, peppy voice, bright colors, motivational quotes in Comic Sans taped to her office window. Not that day. She closed the door behind her and dropped a thick folder on my desk. I've been documenting Eva's behavior for months, she said without preamble. I blinked. What? She looked me in the eye. I saw what was happening. The endless off-campus lunches. The way she used the school phones for personal calls. The way she left class for 45 minutes at a time to meet Owen in the parking lot. She pulled out a printed schedule. Here. I started tracking them. This isn't just unprofessional. It's unethical. And it's hurting students. Inside the folder were notes, timestamps, screenshots, even complaints from students who said Eva had been distracted, dismissive, or flat out missing. She used the school as her alibi, Deborah said softly. But I won't let her use it to destroy you. I didn't know what to say. I had gotten so used to being abandoned that loyalty felt foreign. That night, Lena came into my study holding a printed email thread. She emailed Owen from her school account, she said, voice shaking. I didn't mean to see it, it was open on her laptop. I forwarded it to myself. The subject line read, let's take her. Owen's reply. Once the custody petition is filed, he'll fold. He's a weak man. A schoolteacher with nothing. Let's get it over with. I stared at those words like they were fire. You're not nothing, Dad, Lena said. You're the only one who stayed. She fell asleep on the couch that night while I reread the emails over and over. Each word more poisonous than the last. I didn't just want to win. I needed to destroy their lie. With evidence. With truth. With fire. The courtroom was colder than I expected. Eva sat next to Owen in a fitted navy suit that made her look like a senator's wife. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Owen was calm, polished, calculated. My mother sat behind them, her lips pressed in a line. My sister too, arms folded as if they were there to witness a clean surgical victory. Lena sat behind me, flanked by Deborah Lang and a handful of my students who refused to believe what the rumors said. The judge looked like a man who'd seen it all and was already tired of most of it. Eva's lawyer opened first. Mr. Blackwell, she said, has displayed obsessive behavior tied to his profession, often neglecting his daughter emotionally. Ms. Holloway and Mr. Jennings offer a stable home, financial security, and a positive family model. The gall of it. They framed my devotion to teaching as pathology. As emotional abandonment. They accused me of isolating Lena, poisoning her against her own mother. And then it was our turn. Barry approached the bench like a chess master in the endgame. Before we addressed the custody petition, he said this court must consider a larger issue, the criminal conduct of the petitioners. He laid out the evidence like a hammer striking steel. One by one, piece by piece. Fraudulent property sales. Falsified inspection reports. Emails sent during school hours. Testimonies from buyers misled by Owen and coordinated by Eva. School misconduct reports compiled by Deborah Lang. By the time he was done, the courtroom wasn't breathing. And then Lena stood. She wasn't a little girl anymore. She was steel-wrapped in velvet. Her voice didn't shake once. They told me to lie. Said if I wanted peace, I should support them. That mom was in love and deserved to be happy, and Dad just wouldn't understand. But I watched my father cook for me, help me study, stay up nights holding me while I cried. I watched him be there. Every single day. She turned toward the judge. I'm not afraid of living with my father. I'm afraid of what will happen if you take me away from him. When she finished, Eva reached for her, but Lena stepped back. The judge didn't even take long. Petition denied. Investigation ordered. Court adjourned. As bailiffs escorted Owen out for questioning, his face twisted in fury. You couldn't let her go, he hissed at me. You had to burn it all. I didn't flinch. You lit the match, I said. I just refused to look away. Outside the courtroom it was raining again. But this time it didn't feel like an ending. It felt like something cleansing. A beginning. 3 years had passed. Sometimes I still woke up before dawn, expecting to hear the front door open, Eva's heels clicking across the kitchen tile. For a split second I would forget the truth. Forget the courtroom. The lies. The betrayal. Forget the thunder that shattered our life. But then I'd roll over and hear Abby breathing beside me, steady and soft like a melody I didn't know I needed. She had been there when I couldn't trust anyone else. The quiet math teacher from down the hall who once lent me a dry erase marker when mine ran out. Who brought me coffee when my hands shook too much to make any myself. Who never asked for my story but listened to it all the same when I was ready to tell it. We didn't fall in love fast. We grew into it. Like roots under the surface. Quiet. Deep. Unshakable. We married in the science wing of Jefferson High. Abby wore a silver dress. Lena gave me away. Our wedding photo hangs in my classroom now, tucked into the corner of the whiteboard where the benzene ring used to be. Funny how things change. The beach house that Owen and Eva once bragged about is gone. Sold in an auction. Torn down. The foundation had been rotted through, black mold and termite damage sealed beneath fresh paint. Just like their relationship. Owen was sentenced to 4 years for wire fraud and falsifying inspection records. He served 3. I didn't attend the trial, but I read the headlines. Eva lost her teaching license. The Department of Education called it a violation of professional ethics. Last I heard, she was working part-time at a bookstore in a strip mall near the turnpike. She called once last fall. Wanted to come to Lena's senior recital. She asked about you, Lena said, avoiding my eyes. I told her she could come. If you're okay with it. I was. Not because I'd forgiven her, but because Lena had earned the right to make her own peace. That recital was something. Lena stood on that stage and played cello with a strength and stillness that silenced the whole auditorium. Eva sat in the back row, hands folded. She left before the applause died down. And Lena? She didn't cry. She didn't run after her. She just walked into my arms and said, "Let's go home." She got into Princeton the following spring. Full scholarship in developmental psychology. Said she wants to help other kids navigate trauma. Be the guide she wished she had at 16. My daughter. The strongest person I know. Barry still sends me case updates. His PI firm is thriving. Apparently, Owen's name is now used in corporate fraud training modules under cautionary examples. Deborah Lang? She got her PhD. Her dissertation was partly based on our case, names changed, of course. She's writing a book now on educator ethics and institutional silence. And Abby, my wife, my safe harbor, she's now head of the math department. Watching her lead meetings with quiet confidence is one of the unexpected joys of my life. She still brings me coffee. I still steal her pencils. Some evenings we sit on the porch and read quietly, her legs curled beneath her, my hand resting on the spine of a book I've stopped pretending to read. Sometimes we talk about what happened, but more often we talk about what's next. Our students. Our summer program. The camping trip Lena's planning with her roommate. The past doesn't haunt us anymore. It just lives behind us. Quiet. Powerless. This morning, Lena texted from campus. Had a lecture on attachment theory today. You basically taught me half the stuff just by being you. Thought you'd like that. Love you, Dad. I stared at those words for a long time. And then I looked at my hands, scarred, calloused, ink-stained. The hands of a father, a teacher, a man who nearly lost everything and rebuilt something better in its place. Love isn't always fireworks. Sometimes it's just staying. Choosing again and again to show up. Even when it's hard. Even when no one claps. That's what Lena saw. That's what I hope she carries with her wherever she goes. And as for me? Room 212 still smells like chalk dust and possibility. I've stopped waiting for storms. I've learned to trust the quiet. Because I finally understand. Real love doesn't need to announce itself. It just stays.